Hi, good morning, you guys. I'm going to start reading our book, The Distance Between Us. We left off with chapter 18, and I have this in your, as you know, on YouTube and in your Mandy's Miracles. So I'm going to figure out how to get this started with the share my screen. And here we go. All right. Now we're on chapter 18. The next day, Mila and Poppy told us they were leaving in a few days. Since she was a naturalized U.S. citizen, Mila was flying back. Poppy, who had no papers and no permission to enter the United States, would have to hire a smuggler to take him across the border. "I'm not coming back here, kids," Poppy said. "I have a new life over there, and I don't want to give it up. But I know it isn't fair for you to not have a father. I thought your mother was taking care of you. Now I know she isn't." I grabbed Margot's hand. She was my little mother. Even if Poppy and Mommy didn't want me, at least my sister did. Margot squeezed my hand tight. "Take us with you," Poppy said. "If you aren't coming back, then take us with you." "I don't have enough money to take all of you with me." "I can only take one of you," Poppy said. I kept my eyes on the ground, afraid to look up. Tears gathered in my eyes because I didn't want to hear what Poppy was going to say next. I knew who he would choose. I squeezed Margot's hand more tightly, afraid Poppy would yank her from me. "I'll take Margot with me. She's the oldest, and she won't have as much trouble running across the border with me." "You can't take her," I said. "You can't take her." "Why not?" Poppy asked. "Because she's all I have." Margot looked at me and put her arms around me. I held on tight. I had survived being left by Poppy. I'd lived through Mommy's constant comings and goings. But if Margot left me too, I didn't think I could survive that. I looked at my father and wished he hadn't come back. I wished he had stayed where he was. I wished he was just a photograph hanging on the wall. I would prefer that to losing my sister. Why did he have to come back, only to leave me again and take away the only person who truly loved me? "And what about me, Poppy?" Carlos said. "I can run really fast. Just ask my friends. They can never catch me when we play soccer. I leave La Migra in the dust." Poppy put his hand on Carlos's shoulder. "You're right, Colonel. You should probably manage the crossing as well as Margot. I'll take you with me. But you, Chata, I cannot." "How could you split us up?" I asked. "How could you take them away? How could you leave me behind?" "I don't want to separate you," Poppy said, bending down to look at me. "I will come back for you, Chata, I promise. That as soon as I have some money, I will come back for you." I shook my head, unable to believe him. "The last time you left, you were gone 8 years, Poppy." Poppy looked down and didn't say anything. We returned to Abuelita Chinta's house that evening because Poppy didn't want us to miss school. "You'll still be here tomorrow, won't you?" Margot asked. We were afraid that while we were gone, Poppy would pack up and leave, never to come back to Iguala again. "Of course I will, Negra," Poppy said. At school, my classmates wanted to know all about Poppy. They asked painful questions I didn't want to answer. "Is he finally moving back here?" they asked. "Or is he taking you with him?" I didn't want to tell them the truth. I didn't want to admit that Poppy didn't want me. He only wanted my sister and my brother, so I started to lie. "Yes, Poppy is taking me with him. Goodbye, my friends. I will miss you." I could see the look of envy in their eyes. "You're so lucky, Reina," they said to me. By the end of the school day, I was starting to believe the lies myself. But then I was suddenly afraid. When my classmates found out I wasn't going anywhere, they'd make fun of me so much that I knew I'd die of shame because they'd never let me forget that my father hadn't wanted me. When we got to Abuela Vila's house after school, Papi and Mila were sitting on the patio with my grandmother. He called us over, and I was the first to rush to his side. Papi, you have to take me back to El Otorolado with you, I said to him. Why is that? Because I told my friends you would, and I've said goodbye to all of them, I blurted. I'll die of shame if they know I lied, Papi. Please take me with you. Papi laughed. Mila didn't laugh. She glared at me. She's a stubborn one, isn't she? Mila said. You leave her here with me, Natalio, and I'll teach her some manners, Abuela Vila said. This girl needs to learn that bad things come to women who don't know their place. I won't go with you if you don't take Reina, Mana. I won't go with you if you don't take Reina, Mago said. I mean it. Me too, Carlos said half-heartedly. Papi gave me his hand and I took it. You really want to go live with me? See, Papi, please take me with you. All right. Then in that case, I'll take all my children back with me. But where in the world are you going to get the money? Mila said. We'll borrow it, he said. Beg everyone we know. At first, I thought Papi was drunk and didn't know what he was saying. He said he'd call his friends and beg them to lend him the money he needed to pay the coyote, the smuggler, who would sneak us across the border. He said it was a good thing Betty was a U.S. citizen and wouldn't need to be smuggled into the country. She could fly with Mila on the airplane. For a moment, I felt the familiar jealousy I'd felt when I'd first heard of my American sister. Being born in the U.S. was a privilege I wished I'd had. Will they shoot at us? I asked Papi as we listened to him about the crossing and the people he called La Migras. No, Chata, no. No one will shoot at us, Papi said as he sat me on his lap. Don't be afraid. But I saw the way he glanced at Mila before hiding his face behind his beer can. The next day, Mago and I went to Mommy's work to give her the news. Papi didn't want to talk to her himself. He said Mago might have a better chance of convincing Mommy to let us go. He knew Mommy hadn't forgiven him for what he had done to her. At the sight of him, who knew what Mommy might say or do? We walked into the record shop and saw Mommy dusting the counter while dancing to cumbia called Juana la Cubana. We stood and watched her. Here was a side of Mommy she didn't allow us to see. Here she was, smiling, dancing, singing, things I hadn't seen her do since she had returned from El Toro Lado. I had thought that part of Mommy was gone. Now I knew it was there, except not when she was with us. Mommy turned and saw us standing at the entrance of the shop. You startled me, she said, clutching her chest. She rushed to the stereo and turned down the volume. So he's finally back, huh? She said when we gave her the news. And now he wants to take my children away from me? Luckily, Tio Gary arrived just in time. He calmed Mommy down. He said to Mommy what we couldn't say but knew to be true. You aren't taking care of them, Juana. Why deny them the chance to go to El Toro Lado? Besides, our mother is too old to be taking care of your kids. Let them go, Juana. It's for the best. Don't deny them the opportunity to have a better life. I held my breath. and waited to see what Mommy would say. Mommy was a proud woman. She didn't give in that easily. But maybe today she will be different. Fine, Mommy said at last to my uncle. If they want to go with him, so be it. I breathed a sigh of relief. She was letting us go. She turned to look at us and said, "Tell your father that he can't take Betty." "But why?" Mago said. "You aren't going to take care of her anyway. Why won't you let her come with us? She's our sister." "And she's my daughter," Mommy said. "If you three want to go with him, then go. I won't stop you. But I'm not about to lose all of my children." "But," I said. Then I couldn't think of anything to say as the reality of our situation hit me. If we wanted to go with Poppy, that meant we'd have to leave our little sister behind. "Come on, Nana, let's go," Mago said. We went out into the busy street, and I turned to look behind me. Mommy stood at the door of the record shop and waved goodbye. Too soon, I couldn't see her anymore. Through the crowd of people rushing down the sidewalk, in my head, I still heard the song Mommy was listening to. I still saw her dancing in the record shop, her lips curved into a smile. I pulled my hand from Mago's and stopped walking. What if I stayed? Could Mommy be that woman? The woman in the record shop when she was with me? Could she finally start being the mother she had been before she had left? Maybe she could. Maybe she would. But if I left, then I'd never know. "Nana, you coming or what?" Mago said as she held out her hand to me. I turned to look at my sister, and at the sight of her, I knew I could never survive being separated from her. She was my Mago. How could I think of staying and lose the one person who has always stood by me? I ran to take my sister's hand. I thought of my mother dancing in the record shop, and I promised myself that was how I'd always think of her, and I'd try to forget that other mother, the one who left and left and left. Okay, so I know I made a couple of mistakes, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to read this and follow along with me as best you can. That's why I took the recording off so you couldn't see my face as I was reading the book and my eyes going back and forth. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will send you some questions to go along with this for us to have some discussion on the computer. All right, maybe we can do a Zoom together soon. See you guys later. Bye.